Welcome to the Talking Saw with Rob Jones here at East Berkshire College, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a mitre box and how to fit skirting. So first job, we're going to make a mitre box. So tools needed for this job: we're going to need a hard point crosscut saw, we're going to need sliding bevel, we're going to need pencil, we're going to need a 4.5mm drill bit, we're going to need a countersink, a screwdriver bit for your drill, we're going to need a drill, and we're going to need a combination square, and of course a good old cup of tea. So first job is we're going to put our mitre box together before we start marking any lines on it. So material wise, what I've got are two pieces of 18mm ply or similar, so you can do this with MDF. I wouldn't recommend it with chipboard because it does tend to fall apart a little bit. What we're going to do is I'm going to make this one so that it can sit on a bench, and that's how you're going to do it as well, because at the end of this session you're going to be able to take one of these away with you and use it at home for whatever you need to use it for. It doesn't just cut skirting, you can cut architrave with it, you can also cut coving with it. Coving goes around the top of your room to match the ceiling in with the wall, so you can use it for all jobs that requires angles. So first job, all we're going to do is we're going to put your 4.5mm drill bit into your drill, set your combination square up to half of this piece of timber here. Now I can tell you that this piece of timber is 100mm by 50mm, so we're going half the width for that, so we're going 25mm, and we're just going to run a 25mm line all the way along there, and exactly the same all the way along your other piece. What we're going to do now is we're simply going to keep the two pieces on top of each other, nice and even all the way around, and we're simply going to drill 4 holes equally spaced along. See what I did there? I went in, out, out. What that is it's clearing any timber that gets stuck in the drill bit. In essence, what happens there, it stops the drill bit from snapping because it's under too much pressure. Okay, so we've got nice holes all the way through, both sides. What we're going to do now, get your countersink, and put a countersink in the side with the line. Do now is simply put my piece of 150 on the top. I'm going to look like that. I'm going to get another piece of 150, put it on the other side. That's going to go over the top like so. It's going to be evened up, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use screws that are 2.5 times the thickness of my original ply, and screw it down. what I'm also going to do is I want to make sure that my drill is switched to number 1, and I also put some sort of clutch on it, so I'll put it down to about 6, just so that, maybe even 5, just so that the screws don't go all the way through. Perfect. Now these screws that I'm using are 4mm in diameter, which obviously means to make a clearance hole you need to go 4.5mm for your clearance hole. But be careful, don't go all the way through into the timber that you're drilling into or screwing into, because you'll end up with a screw spinning around like it's been on a waltzer all night. Turn the box over and do exactly the same on the other side, nice and even. Get your screws at 2.5 times the thickness of the timber that you're fixing through. Okay, so as you see, I put this second bit of 150 at the other side, just to stop it from flopping all over the place, flapping all over the place, so I can get a nice, easy, steady fixing all the way along. As you can see, there's absolutely no fuss or hassle doing that whatsoever. Now, the reason why I've made it flat on the base is so that I can use it away from this job. However, what you can do as well is you could also turn the piece of 150 on its end like that, come down halfway with your pencil line, and that means you can then stick it in the vise so that it doesn't go any deeper. However, we're not doing that today because I want you guys to take this home and use it as your own tool, as you please. So what we're going to do now, we're going to stick it in the vise. You go nice and tight. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put our markings on for our skirting. Okay then, ladies and gents, next job, what we're going to do is we're literally just going to find half of the box itself. So 325. Now bearing in mind, this sort of tool you should be able to knock up on site in about 5 to 10 minutes. And quite often is the case, you use it for one job and then it goes. If you look after it, it's a tool for life. So all we're going to do is that centre line, we're just going to bring across and we're going to bring it down, like that, on both sides. Then what we're going to do, about 2/3 of the way across, maybe even a little bit more than that, we're simply going to use this 45-degree angle on your combination square to again draw a line across the top like so, and down the other side. Using a nice sharp 2H pencil. We do exactly the same on the other side. So we've got our two basic joints, two basic angles that you always get in skirting. We've got our 90-degree cut and we've got our 45-degree cut. However, there is always an extra cut that we don't know anything about. And usually it's 22.5 degrees, but not always. So what we have to do is something called bisecting an angle. And if you follow me, I'll show you how it's done. So this is our uncommon angle, which is usually 22.5 degrees, but we never quite actually know what it is because we don't actually take the degrees off of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a piece of guess what? 100 by 50, and we're going to use both sides of it to create half of an angle. So all we're going to do on that, we're going to put that up against the wall and draw a line with the large bit on the floor, and we're going to do exactly the same the other way, like that, again with the large bit on the floor, making sure again we're using a pencil or something that is easily removable from a finished floor. And then we'll do exactly the same, we'll turn this the other way like so. Exactly the same the other way. And then what we're going to do is we're simply going to join those two lines together with a straight line all the way through to the corner of your angle here. This here. So all we do with a sliding bevel, that goes on like so, tighten it up, and that's our uncommon angle. Happy days. Okay, really important to try and make sure we don't move our sliding bevel at all until at least we get it on our timber. So what we're going to do is transfer the lines on here and here, turn it over, and we do it over here and over here. So once you transferred your lines onto here, you then bring these lines down like so. What we're going to do is take your mitre box out of there and remove all of the screws that we put in earlier on. Why is that, he says? Because what you need to do is you need to make sure there's no gap between the two lines that you're cutting. Also get your trusty spare bit of 100 by 50 just to stop it wobbling about too much. Now what I tend to do is I would just put a mark, exactly the same mark on exactly the same piece of wood, so when I come back to it later on I know the holes are going to match up perfectly. So put that to one side. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put these two together. Now as you line them up on the 90-degree cut, it's perfectly in line. However, if you see the other cuts, they're not. So all we're going to have to do is just simply move it along like so, and move it along like so, as to when we need to cut that part. So let's start with the 90. So before we put it in a vise, all we're going to do is we're going to line your timber up on the base, draw a line across, again, put a little line on it. That's the line you're going to cut down to when we start cutting out your slots. And again, same the other side. Put a little line there, that's the line we're cutting down to. Then we put them in the vise, line them up, so that you can see the line that I just drew. Okay, so what we're going to do now is use a nice sharp saw to cut down the lines. keep checking that you're staying on the line. 90-degree cut. And you can continue to move it along to the other cuts. Now, sometimes it does get a little bit wobbly, so what you can do is you can use a squeezy cramp on the other side to make sure that when you put it on, the large bit of the cramp is facing away from you, so that it doesn't get in the way of any cutting. You just stick that on there just to stop it from wobbling about. Again, cutting nice and straight, making sure that you're staying on the line on both sides. Again, moving it along. Making sure we're nice and flush at the top here. And of course, if you need to, use your squeeze cramp. So, if you would like to come round here, Rob's top tip. Oh no, I've gone off. So, what do? You don't continue the cut, because otherwise you'll end up over here. So what you do, you start again. So you come right up to the top, start again like that, look. So you can see it's cutting still on that line. And although when you come to cut, this will be slightly off. As long as you keep to that left-hand side with your saw, it should be fine. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put it all back together. So, earlier on I put a mark on one of my pieces of ply and one of my pieces of timber. So what we're going to do is we're going to line the two up exactly the same as we did before. Get this first screw, in the timber, there we go. Turn it over. Again, using your spare piece of 150 to make sure it's nice and even. Exactly the same on this side. Get our first screw in the hole. Same at the other end. You should be able to actually see through the hole that it's actually going to be meeting up. If it isn't, then you've got a little bit of an issue that you have to deal with. But as good chippies, we can always deal with those issues. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how to make a mitre box. If it ain't wood, it ain't no good. Rob Jones, out.